Before I started working with Dr. Deanna Rain, some of the primary concerns I had were not feeling rested and having a difficult time sleeping through the night, and just an overall experience of feeling lethargic and not really having the energy that I really wanted to have. I'd been vegan before working with Dr. Deanna Rain, and one of the things I saw about that was that it actually became kind of a constraint that I had. Instead of it, when I initially kind of started in that lifestyle, it was really, I was very empowered by it. I would make food choices that I really enjoyed. But over the years, it's been about 8 or 9 years since I became vegan, I'd found that it really became such a constraint. Like, I felt like I would go out and I'd get the opportunity to look at an entire menu, and I would have like one small box in the back side where I could choose from the sides, or I could use the salad section of the menu. And really saw how that was limiting me, and I was finding that even within those constraints, then it was almost like to bust out of the constraint, I would make the worst food choices I could within that category. And again, those would have an impact on the experience of vitality and well-being and aliveness, and so that was a very powerful conversation and a breakthrough that I had in working with her, and have now been exploring new foods that I hadn't been enjoying for years and years. Most of the time, my natural desire and choice is a vegetarian option, but I've been enjoying seafood, and I hadn't been eating seafood for years, and I've tried some, all kinds of things that I just hadn't been eating, and I think that that's been very beneficial for me in my overall health. Yeah. That I think how this will impact my life going forward is that because Dr. Deanna Rain is an MD and an actual medical doctor, one of the things when I kind of went through a health journey about 8 or 9 years ago, and that's when I did become vegan, and I actually was a raw foodist for a number of years, felt great for about 18 months, and then I started incorporating some of the other foods back in that really weren't giving me that sense of vitality, but I'd also kind of created this mindset where I didn't trust Western medicine. I didn't trust the healthcare system. And so in meeting Dr. Deanna Rain, I really had the opportunity to work with an MD who really understands the ins and outs of the medical community and the benefits there are to Western medicine, and actually integrating that with other types of medicine as well. So it gave me a new sense of trust and confidence, and being able to know how do I navigate through our medical system, rather than, I really just completely was like, didn't want to see doctors, didn't want to go for checkups, didn't want to do any of those things previously, which that's not healthy either. That's cutting out a whole section and opportunity where there's a lot of value that can be gleaned from the medical community. Well, I would certainly recommend anyone who can reach Dr. Deanna Rain to work with her. There's millions of people, though. I'm not sure how she's going to get to all of them. And I do think that probably one of the key, I think that the opportunity to read her book is valuable, and I think the most important thing is that you actually have an opportunity to create and see for yourself what is it that's missing that you actually need to put in to have the vitality and well-being. But I think working with Dr. Deanna Rain is definitely a valuable opportunity. She has a unique view and perspective on things because of her medical training and background. She's also an MBA, and so she understands business as well. She herself has been on a journey to discover her own optimal health, and I think that has been what gives her the motivation to work with clients like me, and so I'd recommend that. That the standout experience really was altering my relationship to food, and I think one of the side benefits was that it, I think, had a very positive impact on my husband as well. I think it was one of the things that was actually a concern for him, for my well-being. He was concerned about my food choices. And I think it gave him some peace of mind, which that's critical to me, to know that my husband has peace of mind. So I think that's been one of the biggest achievements. Well, I think that through some of the tools that I've learned through Dr. Deanna Rain, there's kind of like a model that I can always kind of go back to and say, okay, in the area of food, there's some just basic, she kind of has this circle triangle system, and in that system, it's just really easy to look and see in this aspect of life, am I experiencing being whole and complete? Is there something that's missing? And then going to those, you know, the three sides of the triangle and saying, okay, are these all, am I actually honoring each of these? Like in body movement, to have the components present. You know, so I think that having those tools is really the what I see going forward, to utilize those. The biggest difference is that with most other healthcare providers, the first thing they do is they weigh you, they ask you your height, they take your blood pressure, they find a whole bunch of statistics out about you, and then that's kind of where they start, and then it's almost like from there they find what's off in any of those things, and let's start solving that problem. Where with Dr. Deanna Rain, in fact, that was like all set aside from the beginning, and it was like, let's actually talk about how the mind, the body, the spirit all work together, what's actually happening, you know, outside of you, and then bringing it down into the soul center so that you could actually connect and reconnect to your own natural ability to make the choices and be well. I would definitely recommend that if they were serious about creating a wellness lifestyle, that they seek the assistance from Dr. Deanna Rain. She has a unique approach. She has the ability to help people get through whatever their own personal barriers are to being responsible for their own health and well-being.
Well, I've noticed a new sense of freedom, certainly around her food choices, and an ease around what she's eating, what she's doing. She enjoys morning yoga routine now, which I think is very beneficial. So I get the sense of a new ease, a new freedom, a new level of restedness. And, well, certainly, as Cindy said, I had some concerns about how she was eating and what the results were of her diet before, and my concerns have been set aside now, and I'm delighted that Cindy seems to be enjoying her meals, and the concern over food seems to have gone away. Cindy's on a new path to be empowered around her health and her diet, and I think that shows up in many ways in our relationship, many ways that there's, I would say, around the diet, around the food, whatever was there, might have been there between us before, has been removed.